Okay, so after doing various testing and trying live twice and it not really working all that well, I have decided to just really make this a video. It's going to probably be a very long, probably won't be that long. I don't know. I'm talking too much anyway. But I finally figured some of this stuff out. I finally gained the confidence to really get on here and do this because this has been a process in the making, should I say. I've always wanted to do entertainment videos and everything, but I've never really had, honestly, the confidence to ever really do anything. But everybody's first step has to start somewhere, right? I mean, this isn't the type of video I ever dreamed of making. I never imagined being in this situation, so hi. Just to introduce myself, my name is Matthew. I'm 31 years old. I am from Northwest Indiana, which means I live right on the lake, Lake Michigan. I'm pretty close to the city of Chicago, which is a beautiful city. And I have stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Like I said in for a second. Don't say sorry. Well, I can't hear you, but don't feel bad for me. It's okay. To set the stage, I was encouraged to do this by not only my friends and family, but also my doctors, because they know how much I love to help people. I love helping people a lot. It really brings me joy in life. And I've always felt like it was my purpose in life. So I like to think that hopefully this is my way of helping people in the best way possible, or at least for now. I want to do so much to help people, especially people who are fighting a chronic illness, who may not have support, who may not have family or friends. And to me, it's really upsetting to hear. No one should ever have to go through this alone. Nobody. So, let's start this off. So, to really start, when I was working, I'm disabled now, I can't never work again, unfortunately. I remember I was at work. My job used to be nuclear medicine. I used to deliver the medicine that was used for cancer treatment and imaging. I also did quality control and dispatching, all that. I loved my job, absolutely loved the job. It was one of the best jobs I ever had in my life. Absolutely loved it. The people I worked with were fantastic, and my boss, she still is a fantastic person. Everybody who's there is a just wonderful person, and I'm so honored to have worked with every single one of them. I really wanted to say that. I remember I was doing a run, a delivery. And I was coming back, and I was having this pain. It was in my chest area, but underneath, so in the diaphragm area. I remember I had to pull over and like lean the car seat back, kind of like this, and put myself at like an angle in order to relieve myself of the pain. At least I thought that would work. I was thinking maybe it was indigestion, so I just started popping some Tums, thinking, oh yeah, that'll work. Totally. I took a nap at a gas station for like 10 minutes. And, they called. They said, hey, are you doing okay? I'm like, yeah, I just needed a few minutes to get myself put back together. No biggie. And I remember I pulled into our office. And I was sitting in a chair, just kind of sitting there. And my heart, like in my chest area, this was actually in my chest, like by my heart, it felt like it was being, I'm trying to think of a good way to describe this. It felt like it was being drained, like sucked into like a vacuum of sorts. It was a very painful, draining feeling. And one of our pharmacists came up to me and he was like, hey, it looks like you're having a heart attack. I'm like, oh, no, I'm fine. I'm just just tired and working too much. The next day, I still remember this, actually. I walked into my sunroom, cup of coffee, sipping on the coffee. I was about to be on call in a few hours. I was like, oh, better get the day started. That pain came back, and it was very unbearable. So I was like, all right, let's just go to urgent care, see what happens. Maybe it's nothing. I go to urgent care, and they said, hey, look, there's really not much we can do for you. It sounds like you might need like an ultrasound and everything. We're gonna send you over to the ER. So I was like, all right. Luckily, it's right across the street, no big deal. I go into the ER, and this was the strangest thing, and I will not forget this because I still think to this day it was the warning sign. There were no patients in that ER. Not a single patient. I was the only one. So immediately I get checked in. And I'm like, oh yeah, just getting some pain, keeps coming and going, it's pretty bad. They take me into the room, they start doing all the basics and everything. I gotta remember this correctly. What made them do this? Ah, so they tested my blood sugar. They came back and they said, are you aware your blood sugar's in the 500s? I'm like, excuse me? Like, yes, your blood sugar is above 500 right now. Now, I had just had a can of Mountain Dew before going in, but I'm like, oh, okay, I had no idea. I mean, I was just recently tested for diabetes, and my doctor figured, oh, I think you might be, on set. You just need to start doing things to turn it around. I thought, okay, whatever. I was having a Mountain Dew to keep myself awake so I could be on call. They had to give me an IV. This was my very first time getting an IV, by the way. By the way, I was 30 at the time. My birthday's in June. Sorry to kind of mess up the story a little bit. I was 30 at the time. I turned 31 in June, but so this was in February of this year. I am sorry, I'm all over the place. So yeah, they gave me an IV. This is my very first IV ever in my life. So they get it in, no big deal. And they're pumping saline through me to dilute my blood and everything to help get that blood sugar down. So finally, they take me to get I believe it's a CAT scan, and they inject me with the contrast and everything, and then they do an ultrasound. So they come in, they rub the thing on you. I sit there for a while, and then they came back and they said, we need to admit you. And I just remember, I was like, for what? What's going on? They found a giant mass uh, pushing on my pancreas, and they said my liver was full of lesions and what looked to be tumors. I broke down and cried so hard that I got my phone. I called a couple of my friends. I, of course, called my supervisor. I called my mom and my sister. I was crying real hard. I was scared because I've never been admitted to a hospital since I was a baby. So this was scary. And the fact that they're talking like, hey, we can't really tell you what it is because we got to do biopsies, but you might want to prepare for the worst because it looks like cancer. So this was still a maybe at the time. So I get taken up to the surgery wing. Surgery wing. Oh, that's hard to say. They get me up there on Saturday night. And I remember I had that turkey sandwich that they give you from the nurse station. Oh my god, that thing is awful. So dry. No amount of mayonnaise can save it. I'm sorry. But this was also my first time getting morphine. It was the only way I could sleep. I would get 1 or 2 shots of morphine just to be able to sleep because the pain was so much. And I just could not sleep. I mean, constipated too. Oh my god, that sucked. Anyway, my first night, I slept. I wake up. Every day they have to check my blood sugar. They draw blood and everything, do all that. They notice my blood pressure won't go down. And that my blood sugar is still, unfortunately, stuck being pretty high. So yeah, they had to restrict my diet and everything. And that sucked, dude. That sucked. And they had asked me, hey, did you notice any changes in your body during any of this? Like, with this pain? And I told them, well, I've been losing weight. And I haven't exercised and I've been eating like crap. And they said, well, how much weight have you lost? Keep in mind, this is February. We're going to go back to November now. So I was in the hospital February 2022. We're going to go back to November 2021. That's when I started noticing weight loss. So I was losing like 10, almost 15 pounds a week. I'm over exaggerating it a little bit, but just to give you an idea. By the time I was in the hospital, I was down to 230 pounds. I used to be 310, 315-ish. And they looked at me and said, that's not good. That's not good at all. So that's when they realized, hey, you're a diabetic. You're unfortunately a diabetic. So, and we figured type 1 also. I'm also a type 1 diabetic, so I have to get insulin. So they do 2 biopsies and a specific MRI, which is known as an MRIP. It's a specific MRI that takes a while. It does the pancreas area. I fell asleep during it, man. That was some good sleep. But the biopsies, they did 2 of them. They did one on my liver and then one on my pancreas. So for my liver, they took out this thing that kind of looks like a tire rod remover, and they put me under, and the thing just goes, as far as I'm concerned, just slams right in, takes a chunk of your liver. And I remember waking up, and I'm like, I literally said this. I woke up, I'm like, who punched me in the liver? Give me my liver back. I had to wait a whole day for the next one, which was the pancreas one. But during my visit, I had family come up and see me. My parents, my sister, both my sisters actually, and my nieces. They all came and saw me. It was really nice. I cried a lot when I was sitting there in the hospital. I cried a lot. The nurses were real sweet to me and everything. They understood what I was going through, and they kept saying, "Look, Matt, we're not gonna lie to you. It's most probably cancer." As much as I didn't want to hear it. But finally, we get to the day where they do the pancreas biopsy, which they have to numb your esophagus and everything, so they give you like this weird, crappy liquid stuff that you gotta drink, and then they gotta put you under again, and then they have this thing that goes in with a camera on it. I don't know any of these medical equipment things. I'm sure someone can correct me, but yeah. So right before they put me under, I looked at the surgeon and I was like, "Hey, doc," and she looked at me and was like, "What? What's up?" I looked at her and I said, "Whoever made that drink needs their butt kicked because it tastes awful." And then I passed out. she was laughing. I mean, look, I had to have a positive attitude, right? It was a crappy situation, but I had to make the best of it. I mean, I didn't know what was happening. So finally came the day that I was being discharged. My parents, my mom specifically, and my dad, they spent so much money on my medicine just to get me out. They didn't care. They wanted me to be home. They wanted me to be comfortable. They wanted me to be happy. So they spent so much money just getting my medicine, and I felt so terrible. But I remember when they finally got me home, I had I was on a lot of pain pills in order to even move. I was still in a lot of pain in like this area and everything. And I remember my sister cried. She was saying, why is this happening to my little brother? That broke me a little. hearing my dad, hearing, having everyone, ask me, like, man, are you okay? What's going on? It got to me. So finally, if I tear up, I'm sorry. This is still a very emotional story. Hasn't even been a year yet. Finally, I go to an oncologist that was recommended to me by my aunt, who had just gotten through breast cancer, actually. And the doctor that helped her, the oncologist, worked at the hospital that she works at. And just for reference, her name is Dr. Kura. She's an oncologist over at Methodist South Lake. And she is a wonderful oncologist. I am just going to say that right now. I'm not going to wait till the end of the video. I'm going to tell you right now, she is a wonderful oncologist. She had gotten my results, and I remember when I first met her, sat in the room, she came in, my mom was with me. She walked in and she said, Matt, my name's Dr. Kura. I'm going to tell you the truth, no matter how much it's going to hurt. Do you trust me? That was the first thing she told me. She asked me, do you trust me? And I said, yes, I trust you. That's when she told me, Matt, you have stage 4 pancreatic cancer. It's spread to your liver. It's bad. You're also a type 1 diabetic now. To give you an idea, my liver took the worst of it, really. It was crippled with cancer, tumors and lesions and all that. Miraculously still worked. Don't know how. Now, Dr. Kura did not tell me this, but I learned that I was going to die. I wasn't going to live. My liver was in such bad shape that I wasn't going to live much longer. So finally, after that visit, the next week, I was at another hospital getting surgery done to have a portocatheter put in, because I got rolling veins, unfortunately. She added that to the list of problems. It put my portocatheter in, and the next week I started chemo. Chemo sucks. I did 12 rounds of chemo from March to the end of September. August. It was August. Chemo, it sucks. But it does so much good. The way my mom explained it, because my mom is also a cancer survivor. She survived breast cancer. She also has leukemia, but she's in remission. My mom's almost 70, by the way. The way she explained chemo to me is like poison. It's poison to help fight an illness. And my chemo was like a 3-day process, so, excuse me. I'd go in, do my 6 hours of them pumping the drugs into me, and then I would go home that day with the portable infusion pump still pumping those drugs in. My oncologist was extremely aggressive about this, and for a dang good reason. See me smiling, there's good news. So on the third day, I would go back, they'd remove the pump, and give me a white blood cell shot to help reboost my immune system. Because, chemo, it does a lot of damage to the body. I unfortunately walked away with neuropathy, and during chemo, I couldn't drink anything cold, or else my mouth would cream up. It sounds gross, but it's known as chemo mouth. I also suffered from chemo brain, where your emotions go all over the place, you become a bit forgetful and weak. Basically, chemo is like going through puberty all over again, but not the fun things. It's the crappy things. Like, your emotions go all over, and it hurts. But you want to know something? I lived. 6 months in, we did a CT scan. We could already tell I was going into remission. I did forget to say this. How did I even get pancreatic cancer? How did I get to stage 4? The BRCA gene. I have both sides of the BRCA gene, the good and the bad. The good news about me developing pancreatic, no, basically what I should say is the BRCA gene, when it's present in males like it is with me, it increases your chances of getting cancer by a large margin. If you know that you've had a history of breast cancer in your family, get tested for that gene. I do not care who you are. Go get tested. But the good news is, it makes me more treatable. I can't be cured, but it makes me much more treatable. The bad news is, it's still cancer. But after 12 months, I finished my chemo treatment, did another CT scan. It worked. I get to live. I'm in remission. I get to be alive. And I still can't believe it, because I know that if I never would have gone to the ER that day, I wouldn't be here. This is the part that really gets me. When I first got sick, I made a GoFundMe. So many people donated. But one of the best things was my co-workers, my boss included, they raised $1,000 for me. I came to work to visit them. They handed me an envelope, and I was like, what? It meant so much to me. And I never forget that. I still visit them to this day, because I miss them. God, sorry. The overwhelming love that I got from people, it got me through it. It got me through some of the most horrible times. I cried so much asking why me. I went through so much pain, but I made it. And you can too. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're fighting cancer or if you're just having a rough time in life. You can do it. I know it seems hard, but I believe in you. Even I don't care if I don't know you. This is what I want to do. I want this video to help people. I want to meet people who are struggling and be able to sit down and talk to them and tell them, look, it's going to be okay. I know it seems rough, but I believe in you. If nobody believes in you, then guess what? I believe in you. If nobody loves you, I love you. Nobody should be alone. Not a single dang person. I'm going to end this video by saying I still am doing chemo. Technically, I'm on this drug called Lynparza, and I've had a CT scan to see how it's doing. It's a chemo pill, and it works. It's working. I get to live. I get to live a nice, long, happy life. Unfortunately, I can't work anymore because I'm disabled. But at least I can be here to tell you that I'm not just fighting for myself, but I'm fighting for you too. I will fight with you. We will get through this together. There's going to be some tears. There's going to be some screaming. But my arms are going to be open to you. I promise. I'll try to make more videos. I will do my best, but I hope you have a wonderful day. Good night.